You know why you're here. Welcome in, everybody. I hope this time the rain and music is working all right. I did some listen back to the last time we worked on this stuff, and no rain, no music. Let's see if I can boost the latency. Oh no, it's at normal latency? Oh well. I gotta get used to checking that. So I'm going to be about 30 seconds or so behind the chat, so I apologize if I'm not reacting quickly, if the conversation continues past what chats you enter. That's on me. My apologies in advance. So last time we were working on this, we went over exactly what I wanted to do with this new RPG that I'm doing. Side note, I have no game design experience whatsoever. I'm literally just doing this because it's so much fun to do. So the idea that I started with was I wanted to see what it would be like to have multiple GMs and only a few players, because running a RPG is a lot of work. You have to keep track of so many different moving parts, and you have to be fully in character if you do those voices for the NPCs, and that is a huge cognitive load. So I said, okay, what if we split it up between multiple people? Yeah, there's co-DMing, but what if we split it up even more? Would that make the cognitive load even less? And from there, I took it into, let's do this sort of story building kind of thing. So part one of this game is sort of a system agnostic story building structure where the players go make characters and then make some prompts as well with those characters. And then all three GMs take those characters and those prompts and generate ideas, build a story structure from it, and then they get together and play. One GM will have the role of doing NPCs. One GM will have the role of building the maps, world, geography, and actually describing what the players or the characters are seeing. And the other one is going to be the one that's in charge of keeping track of the rules and keeping the story on track. That's what I've got for that, and that's pretty much done. I just need to play test it at this point. So instead, we're going to be working on part two, which is an actual dice system that is built to evoke good storytelling. It's going to be as malleable as possible. So there's no classes, there's no races. There's literally just, you have a character, you pick biological traits, and you pick things that you have learned, and you pick some flaws. I've also started to add in some equipment that you could probably use. And I also want this system to have no math. Like, you won't have to roll dice and add numbers to them to figure out if you succeeded or not. Instead, you're just going to roll the correct dice and the correct number of dice, and as long as one of those dice is underneath your target number, you will succeed. So that's kind of what I have going on here. And I like what I've got so far. Let me show you real quick and catch up in chat. So here's the big question. Do you want NPCs to work under the same mechanics as PCs or different mechanics? If it's former, they can have the same character creation process. No. I want the players to be the only people to roll dice. The GMs will never have to roll dice. They will just have to set goals for the players to roll under. So that means NPCs are going to have the same kind of stat blocks as a monster would. I haven't figured out how to put, special abilities in there. The but the NPCs and PCs are going to be fundamentally built differently. So let's go with the game. So here's what we've got so far for the actual rules. Everything is going to be based on checks. The player's character will attempt to do something, like find a key, punch an enemy, lie to someone. Then one of the game masters, doesn't really matter which one, is going to set a difficulty number from 1 to 10. 1 being nearly impossible, and 10 being very easy. I might have to change that, because all dice can roll a 1. So there is always going to be that chance that something crazy is going to happen. A natural 1 will be rolled on the highest die available. Someone that shouldn't have been able to do something at all would have been able to, I don't know. I want there to be certain times when things are actually impossible to do, and that will be up to the GMs to decide. Like, I want to try to do this. No, there's no way your character would actually be able to succeed at that, so you automatically fail. But it won't be an automatic failure because, actually failing at stuff restores effort points, which we'll get to in a second. So let's change that a little bit. Like I said, we're just running through it real quick. This is very much a work in progress, and that's the most fun stage to be in. So let's do a real quick note here. For PCs to succeed at. Some checks will be impossible for PCs to succeed at. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. Give you guys a little bit too much. Let's edit that window. Edit that a little bit. There we go. That might be a little easier for you guys to read. So some checks are going to be impossible for player characters to succeed at. And obviously the wording here is going to be nasty. Hey Fred, thanks for popping in. Happy to have your support, as always. Looking forward to that next, or I guess technically the first role-play game roundtable. Is that the name of what it's called? But yeah, we'll do my best to tune in for sure. Some checks will be impossible for the player characters to succeed at, and those checks, those situations, in those situations, sure, the GM should not allow a roll. Example: jumping over a 10-foot wall with no super jumping ability. I don't know. You know what? Let's make it 30 foot. Make it a little clearer. Just for this example. So, like, you can say, I'm falling. I'm going to try and flap my arms to stop me from falling. No. You don't get to make a check for that. You're just going to fall. Then, the player, if they do make a check, the player rolls dice to determine whether they succeed or fail. Which dice and how many dice they roll is going to depend on the character sheet. Their traits, talents, flaws, and equipment. I gotta add equipment in here. If none of these affect which die is rolled, roll a d10. So the range is going to be from a d4 to a d12 because there's a gap of 2 in every single one of those. because of how probability works, it gets exponentially more likely that you'll succeed if you roll lower dice. Maybe not exponentially, because that's an actual mathematical term. But the difference between a D10 and a D12 is likeliness of rolling a 1 is much different than the difference between an 8 and a 10. Yes! Very excited for the Game Master Roundtable panel. I've been waiting for those to come back. Welcome back from vacation, Fred, by the way. So, the number of dice rolled is determined by effort in most cases. I don't know if I'll add any roll an extra dice, but I'm going to try to make it so that the number of dice rolled is only determined by effort. By effort. Oh, there's also... yeah, determined by effort. So you'll start out with a couple effort points. I don't know how many yet, but you'll have a pool of these effort points. And you can spend one effort point to add an extra die of the type you're rolling to your roll. So if you want to punch someone, but you don't have any bonuses to it, and nothing affects what die is rolled, you will roll a d10. And if you really need to succeed on this punch and have it land and do some wounds, then you will be able to spend one effort point to roll 2d10. And if any of those are below the goal, in this case the defense of the thing that you're attacking, so if they have like a defense of 5 and you roll 1d10 and you roll a 6, that will not be a success. But if you rolled 2d10 and you... hey, Green and Blue Productions, glad to see you around. I remember you jumping into a live chat or comment section on one of my videos a long time ago, so it's great to see you again. But yes, the as long as one of the dice you roll is below, maybe at or below. Yeah, let's make it at or below, because you will be able to roll a 1. Like, the DM will be able to say, okay, there's going to be 1. The difficulty of this check is 1, which is like nearly impossible. So you have to roll a 1 on one of the dice you roll in order to succeed. So at or below. Which dice you roll are going to be determined, we already went over this, by talents, traits, flaws, and equipment. I'm making sure that when we are building out all 4 of these things, that we are giving an actual die to roll. We are not saying 1 die higher or 1 die lower than what you normally would. Instead, we are going to actually put, here, I'll give you an example. Where is monsters attributes? Is that what we're in? Yeah. Okay, so I've done some stuff in between these 2 streams. So here, this is an example. Bodybuilder. This is a talent that you can learn with your character, and effects that benefit from strength, you get a d8 to roll them. If you rank this up, that will begin to that will change into a d6. But it won't say, like, effects that benefit from strength, you get 1 die lower than you normally would, and then you have to go into your character sheet and find all of those. No, instead you're going to roll the lowest die you can, unless there is a flaw or wound preventing you from doing so. So, example flaws. There they are. Let's do this. This is the only example I have for this right now. So one of the flaws you can have is your character can be ugly. That's a flaw. And if you're ugly, checks that you make checks to make people spend time with you have a minimum of a D12. So if you're trying to convince someone, change this to convince. If you're trying to convince someone to have a good time with you, I don't know. If you're trying to convince someone to spend time with you, and you have both a talent that says, oh, I can charm this person, like I'm a great talker, but your flaw is that you are ugly, even if the talent says you can roll a d8 to make this check, your flaw will trump that, and you will have to roll d12s. So flaws are nasty things in most cases. They really define exactly what your character can and can't do more than anything else can, and anything else will. When you build a character, you will... Where'd it go? Here, character creation, talents, traits, and flaws. No classes, no races. You choose 2 traits, 2 talents, and 2 flaws in order to create your character at, level 1, let's call it. I don't know if that's how we'll do the system, but we'll call it levels for now. The level up process will be you gain 2 points to pick a new talent or rank up a talent. So you can't gain new traits. Traits are just these biologically inherent abilities like water breathing or night vision or something like that. And you can't get more of those. Obviously, this is like, maybe that could change. Like if you undergo an experiment or something and now you can breathe water, great. Then yes, you'll get that extra trait. That's fine. You'll also have 2 flaws. There is an optional at level 1. Let's put this up here. You can gain an extra talent at level 1 if you take an extra flaw. So these traits, talents, flaws, and equipment are literally everything about your character. It's these and the wounds you receive in battle define what you can and can't do. There's no... I know D&D and Pathfinder and a lot of other systems have like ability scores, and originally I was going to use a sort of system like that, but it quickly got too complicated, and I wanted to make it as simple and straightforward as possible to play and to run. So I nixed all of the ability scores stuff, and there's no classes, there's no races, there's just these attributes that you can pick any from to create your character. So let's look at some traits for examples. So say you are I actually have an example here. Say I am going to play... this guy's name is Test 1. His appearance is a one-horned blue devil. So, mean guy, big. He's got a single horn curve sticking out of his forehead. Like dark blue skin. And I said, okay, that's what he looks like. What sort of things would that guy be able to do? And just for fun, the obvious one is he's resistant to cold. So low temperatures cannot wound him. They cannot damage him in any way. Basically immunity to cold temperatures. And another one I chose just because it would be cool if, maybe this world's race, whatever this guy is, or this thing's ancestry, could also have heat vision. Just, you can tell how hot or cold something is by looking at it. Normal vision restrictions will still apply, so like you can't see through walls with this, but by looking at it you can tell how hot or cold it is, so you can tell if someone's like still alive or still warm, or if someone was recently sitting on a bench and is no longer there, that they'll see, like, you know, that red butt mark on the blue bench in their heat vision. Just like stuff like that. You can also play a plant person and have photosynthesis and heal when you're in direct sunlight. This is not, these traits, talents, and specifically traits and flaws are not meant to be balanced at all. I made some templates for them as well, and here's what they look like. So here's what I wanted to talk about first before I show you the templates, though. This is what how I always treat when I accidentally homebrew something in D&D or another game that is just like broken. It's like just way too powerful and the players start abusing it. You have two options. You can adjust the rules and make it more balanced, or since this is a story-based system, you can consider how the world would be built, or what the world would act like knowing that power exists. So the example I give here is if a sorcery, which is what I'm calling magic in this world, if a sorcery kills too easily, how would that be weaponized? Not by the player characters, they already discovered this. How would society react to this power existing? Would it be illegal to use this sorcery, period? Would it be weaponized and used in wartime? Would law enforcement be allowed to use it even though no one else is? There's a lot of really interesting stuff that can be done with broken mechanics and how a world reacts to it. Like, I'm in the middle of watching the Golden Compass series, His Dark Materials. And there's a knife in there that can just cut anything and open portals to new worlds. And just this kid has it. That's so broken. And it is a story tool. It's a plot device. Yeah, it's a very, very broken mechanic, but you don't need to change the rules to make it balanced. Like, maybe he has to, be concentrating really hard to cut stuff. Well, actually, that is what he has to do. He has to actually learn how to cut portals, but like, for like cutting through stuff that can't normally be cut, he can just like slide it through and it looks like butter. So that's a story device. It's a broken mechanic, and it is used to great effect in the actual storytelling aspect. And that's how I want this game to go. I want this specific dice system to complement the multiple GM system that it will be published next to. I have decided, hey Cadence, sorry you're missing the stream tonight. You've got to prep your own homebrew game. Well, it's either watch me create a game or go create a game yourself, right? I mean, I fully understand. No worries at all. Let's see, where was I? The knife. Nope, told you about the knife. Green and Blue Productions, you really like the system. For your impossible system, you use races with one unique niche power. And for customizations, you have heritage that are like your traits. Okay, yeah. So, like, everything I'm doing here, definitely not original. I mean, it is to me. I haven't actually played that many games, so I'm just sort of making this stuff up as I go with your help, chat's help. I know Luke Cash was really helping me out last time I streamed this stuff, which I really appreciate. But yeah, so traits, talents, flaws. I haven't done a whole lot with equipment yet, but we will get to that. My goal for the end of this stream is to get this into a somewhat play-testable area. So I want to be able to have a character, and I want to be the character and the monster to be able to attack each other. So I need a character and a monster, and I need to have at least the combat ideas behind those entities fleshed out enough to roll dice for them. So we have our character, Test 1, and I should mention that maybe that is his actual name. This is a system that can be used in any genre. It can be used in gothic horror. It can be used in cyberpunk. It can be used in, let's say you want to run an RPG in caveman times. Yeah, you can use this system to do that. So this, like I said at the top, I want this to be as malleable as possible. I want this to fit as many story situations that you could possibly want to create. Let's see. So like I said, the traits and flaws are not going to be balanced. They are going to be more plot devices for the characters, things that they will have to struggle with, or, you know, tools that they can use that everyone else is like jealous of. Like, why can you do that? Because I was born with it. That's just how it is. You've seen my traits and flaws system a few times in video games, but never in a TTRPG. You like it, and it allows for customization, and as I'm saying, universal. Yes. I don't want there to be, you know, like, you can only choose from these 5 races and these 5 classes in order to play this game. I want the sky to be the limit. This is a game for creators and creative thinkers. A game for people that can tell stories till they die. People who really enjoy creating new things and new situations and putting characters into those situations with a group of people. Collaborative storytelling is the idea that I'm designing this with. So we have a whole bunch of talents that I've been working on, and this ended up being actually a lot harder than I thought it would be. So as I was making this whirlwind one, I made a talent that you can take to do multiple attacks. I don't know if this is going to be the only talent that does that, but balancing stuff is hard. It really needs playtesting, like, badly. And that will happen. I have a group of people. If you tuned into Constructed Chaos's stream, where I ran some D&D in support of St. Jude's Children's Hospital and got a pie thrown in my face when we reached $550 raised. If you were there for that, then you probably also know that the goal before that pie in the face unlocked another stream with that group where we will be playtesting this. So I'm super pumped, and I hope you are too, and I'll let you guys know when that's going to happen. We're sort of taking a break now. Alex might be out of the country for a bit, so we'll see if we need another person, if we can get it in before he leaves, stuff like that. But you will get updates if you keep an eye on my YouTubes, Twitters, Discords, all that stuff. So, thinking about Whirlwind, making multiple attacks. I want this system, I've said it again, I've said it before and I'll say it again, I want this system to be as simple as possible. So, what I'm going to do is I want to figure out exactly how combat works. That is a requirement. Like, yes, I have some monsters. I have a goblin boss, and a medium fire dragon built out, and we'll get to those in a second, I promise. But first I want to figure out how combat works, because I want it to run the same. This is something that needs to run the same for NPCs and monsters as it does for player characters. So, combat rules. This is character building. So, wrong document. Let's put it in here. Effort pool. Action scenes. That's what we're calling it. So first things first. Wounds. I'll just put this here for now. Each character and monster can monster can receive a certain number of wounds before they die. Each wound will carry a status effect with it. The status effects will be different for... Weird drop in viewers, according to my analytics. Anyway, these status effects will be different for for monsters than they are for PCs. And I'll throw a monster example in here. And the reason they're different is because, again, player characters are the only ones that are going to be rolling dice. The DMs will only be setting goals for those dice rolls using the rules, but they will never actually roll dice themselves. It will only be the player characters, which means the NPCs have to be built like monsters. And give you a quick monster example. Let's use the breath attack. Oh god, this is a complicated one. Yeah, it's a bad example. Let's do this. Just a lower laceration from the goblin. This is everything in D13, which is what we're calling it for now. D13 working title. You feel on playtesting and balance, your game is going to be a massive rework from alpha and beta. Recently found a ton of bugs. Yeah, needs that playtesting. Best of luck with that. That sounds epic. Seems so hard to create an RPG from the ground up. It is, but the point is, it's fun. That's why I really enjoy this. Like, I have no game design experience at all, but I'm having a blast putting this together. I don't know if it's going to be balanced. I don't know if it's going to be fun. This is the real reason I'm working on it, is because I'm enjoying it and I get to hang out with you guys while I do this. It's both harder and easier at the same time. Like, you can just start by rolling dice and writing down rules, but then comes the rest and finishing. Yeah. Big I know a lot of people that enjoy starting projects but not following through on them. Like, they're ideas people, like, ooh, this would be super cool if, and they'll get a start on it and then just, like, never finish it because they want to move on to something else, because after a while their old project just doesn't seem fun and new anymore. This is different for me because everything about it is fun and new so far. And once we get to the actual playtesting phase, it's still going to be fun for me because I'll be able to hang out with people that enjoy the same kind of things that I am, and we'll be enjoying playing this together. Through my content creator career, I've met a lot of people that really enjoy game design. And once we have that first playtest streamed, I will be running more playtests for this in my Discord server. The link for that is in the description. So if you go there, pick up the playtest role, and keep your eye out for it, you will be able to see scheduled playtests where we will be playing through this system to try and work out the kinks. So, monster example of an attack. So a goblin will have an attack 8. What an attack 8 means is that the player will have to roll to avoid, because players roll, monsters don't. Player will have to roll to avoid, and they will need to hit an 8 or lower in order to succeed in avoiding that. What they roll and how many dice, again, depends on traits, talents, flaws, and whether or not they spend effort points to give them more dice. Now, assuming they roll a 9, 10, 11, or 12, then the wound effect will take place. They will add 1 wound to their character sheet and say, starting at the beginning, it's probably going to be 3 wounds and you die. As you level up, you might get more wound slots in order to, fill them out and stuff. And every single wound is going to have an effect. This wound effect is called lower laceration. It is something by a goblin, which is short, has a, usually some sort of blade, so it's going to lacerate you somewhere from the waist down. So, since it's from the waist down, somewhere on your legs, checks made to move will use a D8 or higher. So this is like normal. It's a base of a D10, but if you have basically like a monk and stuff like that, like someone that can move really fast and is built to do that, if they get a lower laceration, they will no longer be able to use their D6. They will have to use their D8 in order to make movement checks. Once I have my own RPG system, I'll have a huge advantage over RPG content creators. I hope so. I mean, as long as I'm still having fun and, people don't get mad at me for, like, making my own system, I think it'll be great. Then this is also going to be a system that is very akin to... Words are hard. Homebrewing new stuff for this system is going to be easy. Like, if there's a certain trait that you want that doesn't exist, you can just make it in like a couple minutes tops. That's how I want it to be designed. I'm going to be providing templates to make those traits, talents, extra stuff that you want and doesn't exist yet in the game. So I'm just having a good time, and that's what matters more to me. So you do need to make checks to move. I should probably add that. Distance, movement. So it won't be just you can move 30 feet for free. Everything you do is going to require a check. This might be a bad move. I might have to change it. Like I said, this isn't even the beginning of, first draft. So you need to make checks to move, and we'll need to fill out details for that in a sec. We'll put that in red. Okay, back to monster example. So when you're making a check to move, you can only use a D8 or higher, and this trumps any skills, talents, traits that you might have. Because it is a wound. So wounds and flaws that prevent you from rolling lower than a certain die, that those will not be workaroundable There is one way to do it that we'll get into later. It's a talent called Remove Flaw. But we'll, like I said, we'll get into that. Let's see. Yes, I've seen a lot of games that use percentage dice, D100s, to roll stuff. Like I think Call of Cthulhu does, for example. I decided I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have as few numbers as possible. Like the title says, no math. So, like, even making your own character sheet, no math. Thanks, Fred. I appreciate the support. Green and Blue, from your experience, I'm on the right track in how to make a character and making it easy to make content for. Yeah. When this comes out, if it comes out, it is definitely going to be free, or pay what you want at the very most. Like, it's going to be publicly available. I'm not going to put this behind a paywall. And I want other people to make stuff for this. I want something I started to grow into something that hundreds of people enjoy. I know, big goal. It's honestly right now it's just a pipe dream. But we'll see what happens. I don't know how long it's going to take either. That's a different beast entirely. But we'll move on to PC examples, which will be different from the monster example. Let's pull in a trait. Which one? Or not a trait, this is the only one we've got so far. Bodybuilder. Affects checks that benefit from strength. We'll put this as an attack example for now. I don't know if this is going to be an attack example later, but we'll see. Math is a good thing. It is an excellent thing, but I'm trying to design a game where you can just roll dice and you immediately know whether you succeed or fail without having to do any mental calculations. Even just simple addition and subtraction. I'm trying to keep that to a minimum, 0 if I can. That's just the kind of system that I'm trying to build. Yes, there's a lot of systems that do have a lot of math, and I'm not against those at all. I enjoy, like, running Dungeons and Dragons has been one of the skills I've developed from it is I can do, like, double-digit arithmetic very quickly in my head now than from before when I, didn't run the game, because people just kept hitting the monsters with double digits of damage, and so I have to do 86 minus 12 is real quick. That's going to be 76. Wow. Yes, I'm so good at doing arithmetic. Maybe it wasn't as great as I thought it was. No, that was a poor. It would be 74, not 76. Well, maybe I gotta run more math games. Maybe this is why I'm running one that doesn't use math. Creating one that doesn't use math. So, affecting checks that benefit from strength, D8. This is an example. Well, let's put the whole thing in there, I guess. This will be our example of a, nope, not monsters. I need the whole document. Maybe not attacks, TBD. Another something in red. do later. Red, I said. Thank you. Oh, wait, no, this isn't a wound. This is wound examples, not... Okay. I need to find a wound example. Maybe I don't have one yet. Oh, yes, sorry. Yes, Dungeons and Donuts, of course. Let's see. I don't know if I have any wound examples for the player character. Maybe we won't do them. Maybe... No, how would the player characters give status effects to the monsters? Let's start off and say they can't. Just to keep, like I said, keep it simple, see how it works when in a playtest. And then... No, I don't have a character sheet yet. I'm sort of working on it. I don't know if you can see this. I mean, it's a very simple... You know, it's what? 2, 4, 6, 8... 8 lines. Maybe 10, 12 lines for a level 1 character. It's incomplete. I don't have a character sheet yet. Maybe I'll start designing that today. That'd be fun. But for now, we'll say PCs can't give wounds. With effects. This is subject to change. Each wound dealt to a PC, not dealt to monsters. Will carry a status effect with it. Oops. Hold that. Center it, because it's important. I also have a couple other notes here for wounds and attacks. The monsters have a flat attack number. The PCs roll to avoid. Been over that one real quick. How is hit chance determined? So every monster... Yeah, we might as well go over this now since we just brought it up twice. So monsters have a flat attack number, and the PCs will be rolling to avoid this. If the PC isn't aware of the attacker, they cannot roll more than one die to avoid. That's just a rule I put there. It doesn't have any, like, building underneath it yet. So we'll go from action scenes over to monsters, just to give you an idea of what I've got so far. So this right here is an entire stat block for the goblin. Right now, I'm building it counting every square, assuming it's going to be played on a grid. Every square is going to be 1. So the goblin's size is 1/2, so 4 goblins could fit into 1 square. Maybe might increase that to size 1 later, but we'll see. Their hit points / wounds is 1. So the instant they get hit by an attack, they die. Let's see. When you take wounds, you decrease in the dice set. I don't want to do I still want to do my best to avoid saying you decrease the dice. I want it to all be you roll this dice. You like calling out a specific die, like a D8, instead of saying one less than what you normally would. I might not be able to keep that a thing, but we're gonna try real quick. But I think I'll put that idea down for now so I don't forget it, because I am quite forgetful quite often. So when monster takes wounds, they decrease in the dice set. Question mark. Put it in a different color. Let's make it orange. Oh god. That's okay to see. It's just annoying to look at when it's highlighted. Ugh. Okay. Monsters. So this is a goblin. Its defense is 7, which means when the player rolls a check to attack them with an equipment or with their fists using some sort of talent, they need to roll a 7 or lower in order to successfully wound the goblin and kill it, because it's only got one hit point / wound. Let's see. They can move on the ground 3 spaces. So movement is like D&D is going to be divided into different like you move different speeds through different media. So like the dragon it has a movement of 5 on the ground, can move 5 squares on the ground, but if they're in the air, they can move 10 squares. Which, you know, makes sense. Most things that can fly about twice as fast as they can run. Usually much more than twice as fast, but, you know, dragons are big and 4-legged anyway. Let's see. And their attack, we already went over for the example that we gave earlier. So this entire thing is the stat block. Super small, super simple. And even the dragon's stat block is not that long at all. You just need your size, its health points or how many wounds it can take before it dies, its defense, its movement speed, and then list out its attacks. Maybe give it a trait, kind of like I did for the dragon. You know, a fire dragon is going to have fire resistance. You know, that's just duh. So that's kind of where I am with that. I like how these monsters are coming. This is my first go around for them, and I'm happy with it. I'm sure I'm going to run into some kinks when it gets play tested, and those will be worked out real time. Let's see. All right. That's the monsters. As always, just a real quick plug for all the things I'm using right now. Hopefully you can actually hear it this time. The rain, beautiful, relaxing rain, ambiance, however you want to say it, is from Michael Gelfi Studios, as is this lovely music. It's just a playlist from their stuff that I put together and I'm playing through Spotify. The actual video in the background is just a royalty-free thing I took from Pexels. Free to use, that's why I'm using it. But more importantly, I don't know if you can see it that well, but there is something from the Kinomancer here. So the Kinomancer does some really, really epic animated overlays. So if I can just give this a quick filter, you guys might be able to see it better. Color correction, make it a little brighter. Contrast up. There, now you should be able to see it. Yeah. Let's keep it about there. So this rain overlay is not part of the video in the background. This is an animated overlay from the Kinomancer. You can see their stuff on their website, kinomancer.com, I believe. I'll just throw it in the chat real quick. So yeah, I really like their stuff. This is just one of the simplest ones they have available. Go check them out. Not a sponsor, just I like their stuff. Okay, which for the D&D grid, you can, let's see. Grid's nice and simple. For the D&D grid, you can just have different tiles with different effects, like air, ground, water, lava. That's starting to get more video gamey, but I think I'm still gonna write it down because I like that a lot. So it's clear, like, you have to move over this, and if you can't, then you can't move through that tile. Let's see. Initiative, distance, movement. Oh no, this is going to be red, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Alrighty. Slap some orange on that. There we go. Also, maybe levels, but keep it simple so you can use the grid. Use a grid notebook. Yeah, you could literally just use the tiniest little things. That's how I originally played D&D. Was inside a notebook that I just laid out on the table for people to see, and all the squares were like you could fit 4 on my pinky nail, itty bitty. Yeah, there's a lot of cool game design stuff to come from video games. I mean, just like, look at Elden Ring bosses. Never played the game. It just got super popular, so it keeps popping up in my nerd feed. But some of the bosses there just look and seem truly epic. Some of that stuff is crazy. Let's see. Might as well do a quick plug right now. One thing that really, really helps YouTubers out is the share button on the video. So if you share this live stream, send it to people who actually enjoy game design and would love to see someone working on a new RPG live, go ahead and give that share button a click, share it to those people, share it on Twitter, share it on whatever. The algorithm will love it, I will love you, and this video will get to more people, and this system will be more widely received when it does finally get published. That would be awesome. Thank you. But moving on to, let's see, we got level up process. Oh, yes, so depends on the system. This is the system, though. So I'm just going to say milestone leveling. because that's how I always run games now. I say, okay, you finally defeated this final boss, and we are going to do some milestone. Like, once you get to that point, we'll level up. It's not XP based because that's math, and we're trying to make a system without math. So definitely milestone leveling. Story-based growth. Because that's how stories are actually written. And that's how I want this game to be played, is with a focus on the story you're creating together. Oh, thanks, Michael. I really appreciate it. With milestone leveling and story-based growth, I think the system will be much more fun for the people that it's targeted towards. Storytellers, world builders, role players, people that enjoy a good, like, consuming a good story, whether that's a movie, a show, a book, and want to create their own story. This is a medium through which you can do that. Failing to level up, I'm going to have to delete that because we've decided that failing doesn't level you up. Instead, it gives you effort points. That allows you to you can spend effort points to roll more dice when you make a check. Okay. Equipment's kind of a big thing that I think we should tackle later. It's not that involved in combat. I'm taking that back. That was silly of me to say. Of course equipment is going to be involved in combat. We should start working on it. So let's make a quick template, because I haven't built out any equipment. I just have like a list of equipment that I'd like, you know, big sword, little sword, dagger, plate armor, leather armor, rope, stuff like that. So we'll split it into combat equipment and non-combat equipment, or attacking equipment and non-attacking equipment. Yeah. So template for attacking equipment. Or let's do template for non-attacking equipment. The template will be, what is the item, and what is the die you use when you make a check with this item. That's very long and very wordy, and I'm going to fix it later. So let's say rope, hempen rope. Die to use when making a check with this item. It's going to be a D8. Maybe for a different item, it would be... These aren't templates anymore. This is just making items. I'll move these over in a bit. Item could be silk rope. Silk rope is stronger, so that would use a D6 or something like that. Or let's make it a D8 or a D10 and a D8, because like I said earlier, the difference between when you're talking about likeliness of succeeding and rolling lower, the difference between a D8 and a D10 is much smaller than the huge difference between a D8 and a D6. We're talking, you know, a tenth, 2/10 versus 2/8. So that's huge. So in this case, with this rope, it'll have to be like magical or something to get more than a D8. And remember, D10s is like the base roll. Like, if you don't have anything affecting the check, you roll a D10. Let's see. Maybe special equipment for other. Yeah, okay. I like it. Template for non-attacking, template for attacking, and template for stuff in between. Bold that. Template for attacking equipment. Item. Dagger. And then, actually, let's do that. Space them out a bit better. Bold. Item. Dagger. Die when attacking. D... Die depends on... Oh, talent needed. That's right. Or associated talent. So, with attacking equipment, like, you need to actually know how to use the more complicated weapons. So, if your weapon is like a club, yeah, you'll get a free D8 to... let's say a die / associated talent. Since you have, like, having a knife is better than not having a knife. Excuse me. So, yes, I'm definitely not including all the weapons, armor, and adventuring gear. I'm just making... The most important thing is to make templates for people to insert what they're looking for into the game. And have the rules work out. And I'll have some, like, class examples, like a dagger, a great axe, and plate armor or something. Like, maybe a couple, maybe a dozen, maybe not even a dozen examples. So a dagger would have a D8 associated with it, and the talent would be knife training. And we'll real quick jump over to the attributes, talents, and enter in knife training. I will come back to actually write that out later. Okay, so, and with the knife training talent, it'll, like, you know, put enough ranks in it, that D8 will go down to a D6. That D6 at super high levels will go down to a D4, where you just, like, always succeed if you have a knife. It's great. Let's see. Could the words action and non-action be used? Oh, like glossary. Yeah. Packing equipment. No, because, like, all the equipment needs to have, like, an action to use it, I feel like, just in case. So, like, maybe one of the equipments is a frying pan. You can make a check to use that frying pan as it's intended. And, you know, that would be the check for cooking food or whatever. I don't know. I think I might take a break soon. My mind's starting to get a little overclocked. So we'll finish out these attacking equipments, come back, and when we come back, we'll go over it again. But we'll real quick make a... I wanted a third template, but I don't remember what it was. Attacking and non-attacking might be the words we use. We could change those, though. Packing equipment. But, like, could you say... Sure. Let's put it out there. Packing equipment. And attacking equipment. Or action equipment. Combat equipment. There you go. Seems so difficult to create a game. Yes, there are so many variables. That's why you guess playtesting is important. Yeah, it's important. And honestly, it's one of the fun parts. So I'm going to like be freaking out when I finally get to show this off in its final form. Well, not its final form, but like actually use this to tell a story instead of just building it. Building it is fun, but I think using it is going to be even more so. We will take a quick break, and I will be right back in, I don't know, probably just a couple minutes. Stick around, guys. we're back. Okay, so where we left off, we were talking about some equipment. I think we've got it done. Just need some template. We got the templates, and I needed it to be super simple. I think we can move on. I think the next smooth transition would be we just did this dagger, right? And we got a D8 for it, is the base die. And you can increase your ability with it using knife training. So we're going to move over to knife training. Which would be, nope, not there. It would be here. So here's how talents are based. Keep in mind that you get 2 points to spend in talents when you start. When you make your character, you get 2 talents, and when you level up, you get 2 points to spend in talents. And the difference between those two things is you have to pick 2 separate talents, like knife training or bodybuilder. If you're spending points, you can rank up your existing talents. Sort of like a video game. I kind of originally wanted to do like a skill tree thing for every single one of these, and then I started to think about it a little more and said that's a little more complicated and a little more work than I'm willing to put in at this time. Maybe we'll do it later if people really want to. Maybe I'll make it an option, like here's how to do a skill tree in a talent if you'd like. And do that sort of thing instead of, just because, you know, some people that play this game are going to want to make it more complicated, just because that's what they enjoy doing. And, you know, I might do the same when I start playing it myself. So for knife training specifically, you're good at using daggers. You're good at attacking with daggers. And I think there's going to be 2 different kinds of weapons. There's going to be ones that you don't need training to use, and the ones that you do. Like, not everyone's going to be able to swing a great axe. Most people can handle a hatchet pretty well, though. So a hatchet won't require a specific talent in order to be able to use it. Neither will a dagger, and dagger's just like a long knife that, you know, you could find in a kitchen. Or you could find similar size knives in a kitchen. I don't know any kitchens that have actual daggers in them. But so knife training is not required in order to effectively attack with daggers. If you have a dagger, you get a D8 to attack. But if you have knife training, you will also be able to stack a wound effect. We said earlier that players can't give monsters wounds, and I keep coming back to that being dumb. But I don't know how we can have the players give monsters wounds without needing to put in some math. So, like, the defense is lowered by 1 while they have this wound or something. And since they're... Or maybe... Instead of lowering their stuff, we could hit them with status effects. Like bleeding. What would bleeding do, though? This is a little late as you left for a bit, but could have different sizes of health be measured on dice, like a D4 for small, a D20 for Elder Dragon? How we're doing health for monsters is just a single number of how many wounds they can take before dying. So, like a dragon can take 10 hits before they die. A goblin boss can take 3. A goblin goon can take 1. That's how we're going to do it for now, just because it's super simple. But you're right, that way also does not use math. Let me write it down quick. Potential new health system. So are you saying that we roll dice to determine how many wounds they can take? Oh, you use a dice as a tracker, like a Magic the Gathering spin down die. Okay, yeah. Or you just erase and rewrite a new one. Yeah, I think if the GMs want more random, mixed up hit points for, like, if there's several goblin bosses walking around, and they want some to be more powerful than others, then yeah, they can, like, tweak the attacks and wounds of each one if they'd like. I think that would just make it more complicated, so I'm not going to put that in here, actually. If I do, it's going to be like a little side note. Back to dagger, knife training. Knife training, that's right. So when you hit someone with a dagger, when you hit a target with a dagger, they receive... Oh, I hate that this application doesn't underline incorrect spellings. Nope. I before E except after C. And weird is weird. And, you know, there's a bunch of other... English is dumb, especially when it comes to spelling. Receive a wound effect. So, what do I want to say? Bleeding? Yes, exactly. That's what I'm doing. Every monster is going to have a fixed health point, and every attack is only going to do one wound. It's not gonna, like, you're not gonna have to deal with multiple different kinds of amounts of damage. Maybe there's going to be an effect somewhere, a super high level one, that when you hit someone, you actually take away you apply 2 wounds instead of 1. But that's further down the road. Right now, it's just a 1-to-1 hit. 1 hit, take away 1 hit point. Okay, so bleeding effect. Let's try not to make it modify their actual stat block. Let's try to instead make it so it's not going to decrease their movement. It's not going to lower their defense. It's going to... I don't know. Maybe... bleeding. Hey, Sora! Good to see you. No worries for being late. This is a stream. I don't expect people to come on time or at all. I just hang out. Thank you. Sounds like a great TTRPG that you could dungeon crawl with as well as roleplay. Yeah, that would be cool if that's how it ends up. We'll see if it does end up being that, but I appreciate the kind words. Right now we're trying to figure out what status effect, bleeding, or maybe it wouldn't even be bleeding, maybe it would be some other status effect that when you're good with daggers, you can apply this status when you hit something with it. Well, let's think about it this way. What can daggers do that swords can't? What, like, wounds can they give that a sword would not be able to do? Maybe a hidden wound sort of thing? So the monster doesn't actually know that it has this wound because it's a thin, piercing wound. Roll bigger dice? No, I don't want to say roll bigger dice for doing stuff. Ooh, a sort of backstabbing thing. Could do that instead of doing the wound effect. It's already a D8. And I don't want you to be able to have a D6 at level 1. Just because that's huge. Oh shoot, Hugo wants to hang out. Maybe he'll jump up on his thing for you. Or maybe he'll run away because he's terrified of me. I don't know what it is. Hugo's my cat, and he's been scared of me for the last couple days. I'm guessing it's because he despises these Chinese yo-yos, because, you know, they, you know, move very quickly, and he doesn't like things that move fast. I don't think most cats do. Ooh. Okay, a finisher when the monster's low health. I like that one. Depends on where the player says it hits. Could cause the monster to have a stumble. Yeah, like a movement penalty or something. Let's go with... I'm considering have it be like a finisher when the monster is at low health. So if the monster only has 2 wounds left, then this applies 2 wounds worth of damage. That could be... I think I'll have that be a higher ability. So, like, put it up at rank 4 or something. If you hit a target with a dagger that, and the target only has 2 wounds left, the hit deals 2 wounds of damage. I need to fix the wording on this. I know Easy D6 is a system that uses strikes instead of hit points. No worries, Michael. Glad you could join us for as long as you did. If you get a chance to watch it later, drop a comment. And if you have anything, any more words of wisdom for helping me design this thing, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for joining. But I like this as a higher rank ability, where if there's 2 wounds left, it deals 2 wounds of damage. But what is the first, like, why would you take this in the first place? Like, if you already have a D8 worth of, a D8 damage die, in order to attack with the dagger, then why would you take this first rank in knife training? Oh, maybe having knife training allows you to throw them. Yes. Brilliant. Tabletop Bob. Welcome in, Bob. I hope you're looking forward to Wally's recorded game as much as I am. I'm super excited to get to collab with all of you. So, with this talent, you can, with knife training, you can now throw daggers as well as attack with them in melee. And you can throw daggers, throw a dagger to attack a near target. Yes, we're working on a RPG that is going to have no math. A quick rundown of what it is, just for everyone and for Bob who's just joining. Let's pull up this boy. So, when you make a check or an attack roll, first thing you do is the player attempts to do something, like find a key, punch an enemy, lie to someone, etc. Then, the GM will set a difficulty from 1 to 10, 1 being nearly impossible and 10 being trivial. Then the player rolls dice to determine whether they succeed or fail. Which dice and how many depends on the character's attributes and the effort points that they spend. Like if you spend an effort point, you can roll an extra die. I actually haven't written the most important part. If this if any dice rolled are at or below the target number, the PC succeeds. So it's literally, you are going to know whether you succeeded or failed the instant the dice stop moving. You won't have to do any mental calculations after the fact. Like you don't have to, like in D&D, you roll a D20 and then add a modifier. In this, you just roll a die and that will tell you. Like you have a goal, you roll a die, you see if you get the goal or lower, you succeed. And if you fail, you get an effort point restored, which will allow you to roll more dice on future checks. Let's see. And right now, we are working on some of the attributes that allow you to roll more dice, do extra things, roll lower dice, roll smaller dice in certain situations in order to have it more likely to succeed, because you're trying to golf roll here, get as low as you can. And that's the basis of the game right now. So I wanted to make it as simple as possible. Let me know if that was confusing, because that matters a lot to me. If it is confusing, then I need to rewrite it and fix it. Or reword it at the very least. You can throw a dagger to attack a near target. So this is important. You can throw a dagger to attack a near target, which requires you to know the difference between near and far. Oh, a mid-range target. Sorry, I changed the wording. So this is the only distance things. It's not going to be you can move this far, or you can... I might just use 5-foot squares and change how movement works. Anyway, so if you are in melee, that means you are within reach, however far that means. If you are mid-range, you are 30 feet or closer to whatever you are mid-range from. If you are long-range from something, you are 150 feet or closer. And if it is beyond 150 feet, it's called too far, and most things can't affect things that far away. Unless, specific beats general rules. Thanks for joining, Fred. Always glad to see you in my chat. I will do my best to catch up on your live streams when I see them go live. Always good hanging out with you. Have a good day. So that's how distance works. I'll need to move the attributes to attack a mid-range target. I'm going to go with 5 feet because... for grid spaces, I'm going to go with 5 feet, I think, because that's what I know best. It's how D&D is run. It's how Pathfinder is run. It's how a lot of different map-based RPGs are run, at least the ones that I've played. What are you doing, buddy? Why are you so excited? Hugo wants to join us, apparently. That's this little buddy right here. So you can throw a dagger to attack a mid-range target. Brilliant. Wonderful. Amazing. At rank 1, maybe you have something additional? Maybe make this a rank 2 sort of thing? As you can see with, let's say, the runner talent, you can, not every rank is going to have, not every talent is going to have a new ability with every rank that you spend in it. You won't, if you're rank 3 in this, you will only get the rank 2 ability and the base ability. You will not get the rank 4 until you actually spend that other point. Let's see. Yeah, 1 meter, 3 feet converts really well between freedom units and real useful units. Let's see. I don't know if I want to have this be a rank 1 sort of thing. Yeah, let's make it a rank 1 sort of thing. Hitting a target with a dagger applies a wound. We already talked about this. I cannot figure out exactly what wound it's going to be. I don't know. I keep coming back to bleeding, but I don't know what sort of status that would give. Does anyone know what bleeding does in other games? I know that 4th edition has bloodied for things that are half hit points or lower, but that's not really useful here. I'm looking for applies a wound, bleeding. Like, what? Why is bleeding detrimental mechanically? Yes, you're going to lose blood, eventually get lightheaded. What else does bleeding actually do? -1 health per turn? No. Maybe -1 health per hour. So you take another wound of damage in an hour, because things are only going to have, 3 points of health. That's normal. A level 1 character is only going to have 3 points of health. I don't want them to die in 3 turns just because they have this one stat effect that they can't get rid of. But I think constant damage is a good idea. Just need to make it longer than, once every couple seconds. Suffer 1 wound every hour. Maybe 4 hours? No, every hour until this effect is healed. Yeah, I like it. And then we'll leave this just has a rank 1 ability and a rank 4 ability. Maybe maybe at rank 5. Or rank 6 maybe. Your dagger attacks use a d6 instead of the usual d8. I'll just put a d8 here in case people were not aware once they read this that even without a yeah, that's my job, green and blue. I'm here to make things difficult. So yeah, just putting another d8 here in case people that read through this are not aware that using a dagger is already a d8. You don't need knife training in order to get that. And then, as usual, rank 10. Your dagger attacks use a d4. Because using a d4 for an attack is freaking crazy. Let's see. So yeah, I think that's good for knife training. Leave it as that for now. We started this going... I do kind of want to go through the rest of talents, but first I would like to go through this stuff and fix the distance and movement. Okay. Each grid tile is 5 feet. Both for squares and for hexes. Shift, close parentheses. Size. This is how I'm just writing down what I already have, this sort of thing. Oh yeah, poison from, or not. Some effects in Pokemon do damage over time, but stop at 1 hit point. Maybe bleeding can do the same. I like that. I like that, so you don't just bleed out. That feels like a really dumb thing to happen in a story-based RPG. This effect cannot... This effect ends when the target reaches 1 wound remaining. I like it. So, like, it will heal itself eventually. Just, you'll be super weak for a while. But I don't want bleeding out, like, to actually be the way a monster or a character dies. It just doesn't feel like a good move from a story perspective. Maybe every time you receive bleeding status, you make a con save. Well, so Cadence, real quick, there's no saving throws, really. There's no classes, there's no races. This is a very, very, very different from Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder or things with ability scores. Instead of ability scores, you don't have classes, you don't have races, you have traits, talents, and flaws. So a trait is like a biologically inherent ability, like water breathing or dark vision. A talent is something you can learn, so martial arts, masonry, persuasion. You can gain more talents as you level up. Let's delete that detail because that went in the trash a while ago. And then your flaws are negative aspects, weaknesses, or disabilities that your character struggles with. And these will stick around unless you use the remove a flaw talent. So that's kind of how it works. There's no, that's the whole character sheet. It's just those things. Yeah, maybe there's like some equipment. But it's these, and sorceries, the magic that will, oh god. I know I put magic in the thumbnail, but I don't think we're going to get to it. Right now it's really just the combat fixing. But like, you don't have a race, you can have any two of these traits. So like, you can have someone that has heat vision, and someone that is can mimic voices. So you can see things that are warm, or see whether things are warm or cold by looking at them, and you can perfectly mimic any sound. That's not a race that exists, or an ancestry that exists in any system that I'm familiar with. But in this system, you can do that. Like, sky is the limit with creativity for character creation here. So there's no constitution saves or death saving throws. How damage works is everyone can take a certain number of wounds. Most wounds are going to have an effect stacked onto them. But once you take a certain number of wounds, you die. Or you go knocked unconscious. I haven't figured out the difference between those yet. Maybe monsters die. Monsters and NPCs die, but players get knocked unconscious. Something like that. Where were we? Runner, investigator, whirlpool. Where were we? I'm lost. Makes sense with the concept. I wish I knew what you were talking about. I've just completely lost my train of thought. Although I like that I'm getting practice describing what this game is quickly. I want to be able to do that. That's it, like an important attribute of it to me. Let's see. Knife training is done. Bodybuilder is okay. Didn't work on any of these. What were we? Distance. That's what we were working on. We weren't even in this document. We were over here. Size. Okay. So size 1 takes up 1 tile of space. Size 2 takes up 4 tiles of space. Size 3 takes up 9 tiles of space. Yes, that's right. Bleeding. We'll finish this up quick. Tiles, so size X equals, I know I said no math, and I'm over here like putting algebra in the game. X tiles on X tile wide square. Okay. That's all I've got for that. But back to bleeding. Bleeding is important. Force mimic, knife training. Bleeding, yes. Suffer 1 wound every hour until his effect is healed. This effect ends when the target reaches 1 wound remaining. Yes, perfect. I love it. Okay. We might put that at rank 2? Yeah, let's put it at rank 2. So you get knife training with 1 point, and then you have to spend 2 more additional points to get rank 2. So you cannot get knife training and rank 2 knife training in the same level. You know what? I might just change the ranking system. Because right now, when you level up, you get 2 points to spend in here. And I'm ending up just like, look at this. Knife training, rank 2, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 4, 6, 2, 4, 7, 10. Most of the numbers in here are even. So instead, I might say you get 1 point to spend every time you level up, and you can spend it either as a talent or as a sorcery. We haven't even gotten to sorceries yet. I know, like I said, I don't think magic is going to be a thing we talk about today. That'll be in a future stream, I promise. I've done a little bit of work on it, and I've got some ideas, but I want your guys' help after we figure out how combat works. How big are your boards? Is that will determine size and weapon range? Oh, no idea. Like, I'm not gonna provide a system of, you know, you have to play on boards that are 10 squares by 10 squares. This is gonna be, you know, like D&D battle maps. Sky's the limit. There's no maximum or minimum size that it could be. Just like whatever you need in order to build out the map that you want them to fight in. But yes, I think we should change the ranks. So first stop is we're going to Control F, level, find next. Level up, you gain 1 point. You gain 1, or you gain 1 talent point or 1 sorcery point. Ah, that's a very D&D thing, sorcery point. So, level 1 talent or magic, then alternate every other level. I think it's cool, but what I don't like about that is that requires everyone to have both talents and magic. I want people to be able to go full magic if they want to, or just no magic whatsoever. Just in case, you know, that's the vibe they're going for. Like, what would it be like for someone with no magic in a world where magic is everywhere? Everyone knows magic. Why doesn't this person know magic? I'd listen to that story. So I think it is start with 2 talents and no magic. So level 1, there is no magic. Level 2, you can start doing magic. Also, that might change. I think everyone should have talents. I don't want any character to be talentless. But level up, gain 1 talent point or 1 sorcery point. Let's see. And then we're going to reduce these. So rank 1, this is rank 2, this is rank 3, and then 10 would be rank 5. Rank 1, yeah, I'm just going to delete this rank entirely because this bodybuilder thing affects checks that benefit from strength, D8. And then I separated looking strong versus actually being strong. And I think that was a poor decision on my part. So rank 1 for here. Delete this. Rank 2. Rank 3. Rank 5. Then runner, well, they're all even, so that'll be easy. 42, rank 42. Nope. Rank 3 and rank 5. This will be rank 2 and rank 5. We'll take a look at this one in a second. This investigator one, because I think it's boring and dull and I want your help to work on it. So the investigator affects checks that involve searching for information. So that involves looking for traps, searching for information nearby. So looking for traps, recognizing clues in a crime scene, or browsing a library. Any of these things could be investigating. What else? And you get a D8 for that, and that die goes down with, you know, the normal ranks that dice go down. What else should this talent give characters? So, like, what happens at rank 1? What happens in rank 3? I have no idea. I could not think of it before when I was originally writing this, and I can't think of it now either. Whirlwind is more combat-y, and we'll get to that in a second. But I'm looking for things that could... It's not necessarily pure roleplay. Like, maybe an investigator, because I know that there's a Pathfinder class that bases... that gives you bonuses for figuring stuff out, like finding a weakness in a... No sorcerers. Sorcery is just what I call magic in this system so far. That name is subject to change, like everything else that we're writing right now. It's all subject to change. I like what I've got, and I want to keep most of it, but if I see an argument that, you know, this should be changed this way, then I will listen. I'm going into this with a very open mind, but no sorcerers. Like there's no class. I don't know. Maybe we should just leave it like that. Maybe the investigators shouldn't get anything other than, you know, decreasing dice for searching for info. Yes, a pleasant evening to you as well, Cadence. I appreciate your joining for tonight's roleplay game montage of creation. I do hope you have an excellent time at work. Oh, sources, like insiders, people who give investigator info. I like that. Okay, yeah. I'm trying to figure out how to put that into actual mechanics. Like, do I want to force the GM to create an NPC on the spot for sources? Or do you want that sort of meeting to happen behind the scenes? And they just get this information. Let's make it so that, because investigator looks at, it affects checks that involve searching for information nearby specifically, and having sources, other people to do your investigating for you, would be a way to search for information at a distance. If you don't follow, let me know. I will do my best to explain myself better. But so rank 1 will have, let's say, a D6 for checks the source for information. You are able to identify people that would be good sources of information. Guess at who knows what, etc. And mechanically, so like if you're trying to figure out, you know, like a okay, you have a D8 to find people that have the information you want. There we go. Because, like, with this investigator mind, sort of, and ranks in this ability, I think it will be, yes, this makes sense. Like, you can say, okay, who is this lineup of people, who is most likely to know the history of this sword? It's obviously going to be either the blacksmith or the lore dude. Or if there's a blacksmith that excels in lore and has a bunch of really old weapons and books about stories, yeah, this blacksmith is going to be the person that knows the story of this sword. And being able to identify that would be, you know, yes, I like this. Okay. And then we will make it rank 3 will be D6 to find people that have certain info. And maybe we stop there. Because at a certain point, because like having a D4 in something is extremely powerful. Like it's broken. It's like a 25% chance of an auto success. Like that's huge. So I don't want most of these to go all the way up to D4. And I definitely don't want the D4 to be available below rank 5. So like if you pour every single level into one ability, then yes, you can get a D4 for a certain like check or a like weapon or something. That would make sense. But I don't want D4s to just go all over the place for everything you have until you're super like stupid high level. Okay, I'm happy with this. I like this now. Couple of different ranks, couple of different abilities for this investigator talent. Love it. Okay. Whirlwind. In this game, in action scenes, in combat, every creature gets one attack and a movement. Or one action and a movement. That's it. They need to make a check to do this movement. But we'll get to that in a second. Whirlwind, right now, is the only way to get multiple attacks on one turn. And I'll just read through it real quick, and tell me what you guys think. Let me know if it's dumb, broken, should be nixed, or just tweaked a little bit. Let me know what you think. So, Whirlwind. When you take this, if you hit a target with a big melee weapon, that is an actual class of melee weapon, so like a great sword, great axe, a warhammer, something like that, you make an extra attack with that same weapon against one other target in melee with you. This is called your whirlwind attack. The second attack is called your whirlwind attack, and it does not stack. So if you hit a target in melee with a weapon, you get that extra attack. Then, if you hit that other target in melee with the big melee weapon, it doesn't stack, so you don't get another attack after that. You do when you rank this up, though. So once you spend another point in this rank, if your first whirlwind attack hits, you get to move 10 feet. You get to move two tiles. 10 feet, 2 tiles. I gotta actually figure out exactly how I want to do that movement stuff. It's annoying. Meh. So if your first whirlwind attack hits, you may move 10 feet for free. You don't get a second attack yet, or a third attack yet. The problem with this IRDC is that you can take Whirlwind at level 1. That might be an issue. On rank 2, if your first Whirlwind attack hits, you may make a second Whirlwind attack and move 10 feet. Make a second whirlwind attack in addition to moving 10 feet. What do you think? Should we make that movement required? I'm going to go with yes, because I always hated stand and swing combat. So let's make that movement required. So you have to move that 10 feet in order to get this third attack. Or, even better, we'll just switch these up. So instead of the first thing that you get when you take this being attacking again, we can make it, you move, and then rank 1 is attack. And rank 2 is move, instead of how we have it. Yes, 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 yes. I love Eureka's like this. This is what I fucking live for. It's great. And with big weapons, I assume you can just delete some monster hordes. Yes, that's kind of what this is designed to do. So you can, like, carve through goblins, which is epic and fun. It's why barbarians are one of my favorite classes, is because I love minion matching. Let's see. Big weapons, assume you can just delete some monster hordes. So thinking small weapons at first, then medium, then big. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of want to stick with the big weapons because the whirlwind is about momentum, and you need a weapon with a lot of mass in order to get this momentum. I'm actually sort of stealing it from a video game. In Dragon Age Inquisition, the double-handed, like, one of the two-handed weapon abilities you can do is whirlwind. You literally just hold it out at arm's length and spin in a circle and hit things. It's a fun ability. It's not that good, so I wanted to fix it doing this. So if you hit a target with a big melee weapon, you may make an extra attack. No, you may move 5 feet. Move 10 feet. For free. If your first whirlwind attack, if you hit a target with a, you may, okay, copy that. Sorry, I know I'm not saying full sentences right now. My brain is in overdrive. Actually, let's make this super simple and super straightforward so people can see the pattern. You may move 10 feet and attack again. You may move 10 feet, then attack again, then move another 10 feet. And attack again. Move 10 feet, move 10 feet and attack. There's 10 feet, 10 feet and attack, attack. So that's 3 attacks at rank 3. I don't like that. We are going to make this rank 3 and 4 instead. And then, so if you hit an attack, so at rank 4, you get 3 attacks. Let's make that rank 5. Yeah. Alright. Alright. Haha. I like where this one went. This is fun. Okay. There's a lot of other stuff that I have in here. Oh boy. Let's take a break. Let's take another quick break. This one, blah, 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 blah. Words are getting harder and harder. That's why I need a break. I will be back in just a couple minutes. This stream will continue when I return. And we're back. I had an orange, it was delicious, and I realized that I had not turned my heat on yet today, and I live in Minnesota, and that's why I was so cold. Let's see. What do we want to do next? What have we got left? Something that won't take too long, ideally. Let's just start, you know what, yeah, let's start throwing some attributes, some talents together, some flaws together. Talents might take a while. Flaws, however, should not take that long to make several. Okay. Let's see. Vampirism is weird. Lycanthropy is weird, so we're going to avoid those. But can't swim. That one's pretty straightforward. How do we want to word this? While in water, you cannot move without touching something. Well, like, I don't want to say no water tiles, because then what if you are in a water tile? Like, I want this to be... I don't want this ability to be tile-based. I want it to be status-based, if that makes sense. So, while you are in water and not touching the ground, you cannot move from your current tile. Sure. Let's just make that the thing. Like I said, like I keep saying, playtest. That is when we will fix everything. I'm putting a whole lot on this playtest thing. No, not shift, just minus. There we go. Unintelligent. So, when you think of someone, like in D&D, that has a intelligence score of... like 6. Cannot read. Oh, there's a first one. Well, I don't want to say cannot read, because illiterate is also another flaw. And I know plenty of people that can read and are unintelligent. Let's see. Oh yeah, we should probably put in though other creatures can move you. /effects. Though other creatures and effects can move you. Intelligence-based checks. Checks that require intelligence. Checks that require critical thinking. Have a minimum D10, do you think? How harsh do we want to be? Should we just put also very unintelligent and make the minimum for that one D12? No, we'll just keep it here for now. So whenever you make a check that requires critical thinking, you cannot use a die that is lower than a D10. I don't know if that'll pop up in any situations, but we will see. Alright, these ones are easy. Oh. Zundu. Blind. You cannot see or make checks that require vision. Deaf. You cannot hear or make checks that require hearing. Cannot speak. Oh, let's make it specific to their character. In this case. Your character cannot speak. Yeah, I mean, there's no checks involved with that. That's just, you can't speak. You can still persuade people to do things without speaking. Ooh. Maybe that is a check. Because it is harder to persuade people to do things if you cannot speak, and that's how they rely on communications. When making checks to communicate with creatures that require making checks to communicate with creatures that communicate verbally. Your minimum die is a D10. So we're saying that the average commoner uses a D10 for everything. So hang on, I have to sneeze. Excuse me. So I think for this cannot speak one, the D10 would be accurate because, like, you can't get good at communicating with those people, but you can do it. Whereas unintelligent means you are below average intelligence, and the minimum D12 critical thinking thing must apply. Pre-made creature idea. I see no evil but carry a big stick that has unintelligent, can't speak, and whirlwind? Oh god, that's a dangerous combination. So creatures will be able to have traits, but they won't be able to have talents. Instead, they would just have, to make it super simple, what they would have instead would be like, like they would just have multiple attacks, like can attack twice instead of once on their turn. Just that line alone. Let's see. Clumsy. Ooh, that's a nasty one. What sort of check should we punish for clumsy people? could go with... Actually, I have no idea. Remember, we don't have to keep these... This is reminding me more than reminding you guys. I have to remember that we don't need to have these balanced. Oh, yes. Pre-made character. Just... That would be true chaos. Just combat only. I attack a bunch and I don't ask questions. But with clumsy... We should punish rolls... Oh, so Ty would go to... Interesting. No, because that would apply to... What you're suggesting, green and blue, would apply to all checks. I do like that as, like, a very minor penalty that sort of scales with the difficulty of the actual check. And hit something else. So... Okay, yeah. Yeah, we can go with that. Clumsy. We could just make it when you miss with an attack. You must immediately make another attack against a target within melee of your original target. So this would apply to like bows and stuff too, bows and guns. So, oh, so you're saying... Well, I don't think physically clumsy people would have to deal with accidentally insulting people when they talk. Though those aren't combined. I like where you're going, and I think we should make another one for that. Socially unaware. Accidentally insulting people like that. Yeah, so clumsy. Cool. I feel like clumsy could be used to your advantage too, which is fine. Yeah, we'll leave it as is. So socially unaware. When you fail a... When you fail a check that involves communication, communicating to others. You accidentally insult those you're communicating with. That one is going to require some epic improv skills. So yeah. This, I'll just put in parentheses, RP heavy. If you can't think of an insult, that's okay. The target just is insulted and you don't know why. And nobody knows why. Yay! I like where these are going. This is fun. Okay. Let me adjust just a smidge. So, physically weak? Oh, yes. This was a big one. Strength-based checks cannot have a minimum die of D12. Naive. I think we can delete this one. Socially unaware is pretty much the same thing. You can try to be smooth. Yeah. Yeah, this one's RP heavy. I'm excited for the socially unaware flaw to actually appear in a game, because I think if someone does pull that off and actually can think of an insult that works in the, like an accidental insult that works in the situation, would be hilarious. That'd be so good. I think naive is pretty much the same thing, so we're just going to delete that one real quick. Insane. There's a lot of different kinds of insanity. Let's change this to paranoid. When you fail a check, when you fail a check to, I don't know, find information about a person, when you fail a check to determine if you are safe. When you fail a check to determine safety. So, so looking for enemies, etc. You attack? I don't know if we want to go that far, because there are multiple types of attacks, and it, like, if a wizard gets this, then they would cast a spell, not attack. Ooh. When you fail a check to determine safety, you believe you're in danger and cannot make checks to determine safety for another 24 hours. Or you believe you're in danger for 24 hours and cannot make checks to determine safety during this time. There. So once you fail your check to determine whether you're safe, you get super paranoid, and you cannot... Yeah, I like this. You get super paranoid for the next day. And, like, you always think that something is around the corner, and you're not allowed to actually make checks and succeed on that sort of thing in the meantime. Cool. Let's do a couple more, and then I think we will call it a day. Greedy. What sort of mechanical detriment would a greedy person have? I don't like the force attack thing, because that could ruin some situations, and players might not like that. But, let's move on to an easy one. If you think of something for greedy, let me know, but I'm coming up empty. Illiterate. You cannot read or write. The end. That's bad enough. Prejudiced. Buying stuff, you must get the best deal and won't compromise. We could just say you cannot barter. Like, you cannot purchase things. Sure. No, not... Let's change it. I have another idea. I don't know if I like greedy, but we can do... hoarder. You cannot sell things. You cannot sell. You cannot trade away or sell equipment. Perfect. I like that. That might need fixing. It's not perfect. What am I talking about? Prejudice, though. That's a big deal. Gotta be careful with this one. You won't ever give up something unless it's the best deal. Well, like, it's difficult in many, many situations to determine what is the best deal. But I think trading this, turning it into hoarder and just making it so you can't get rid of stuff is a nasty flaw that could come in handy and lead to some pretty interesting roleplay, as you suddenly cannot carry your pack anymore. There's no encumbrance rules, but you know, in cartoons people carry packs 50 times their size just fine. Prejudiced, though. You cannot have a positive opinion about... Have a positive opinion about individuals with a certain attribute. Skin color. Skin color, gender, age, number of limbs, or fingers, ear shape. This could be triggery for some people. So I'll put a caution in here. Might delete it in the final publication to avoid that. Cool. With a certain trait. Yeah, why not use our own lingo, right? That way we don't have to give all the examples. Technophobe. Cannot use anything that runs on electricity. Missing an arm. Cannot use any two-handed equipment. Cripple. Ground speed can never be higher than 3. Selfish. And I think this will be the last one for today. Selfish. You cannot help others. You cannot help others with checks. Brilliant. You know, I'm really happy with how far we got today. This was mostly empty when we started. It's still a lot of emptiness right now. Maybe it wasn't mostly empty, but we did a lot of fixing of a lot of problems on both of these documents, especially combat-wise. We didn't quite get where I wanted to with like being able to playtest this stuff, but we got close. We got close. Anyway, keep your eye out for the next time you see those blue dice on the YouTube feed you have, or if you're in the Discord channel, or the Discord server. I will definitely be posting there whenever I'm doing something. If you want to join the Discord and you haven't yet, you can see the link in the doobly-doo. But until my next stream, I hope you all have an excellent day, excellent weekend, and I just need you all to remember that everything is going to be okay. Bye, everybody.